Last topic was national income. So we have completed all the dimensions of national income yesterday. If you have any doubt, you can ask now. Otherwise, we'll move on to the next topic, that is growth and development. So it is also mentioned in your main syllabus in the first line, growth and development after inclusive growth. So we'll discuss some basic points. What is growth? What is development? How they are correlated? How they are important for developing countries and different aspects of developed countries. Then after that, we'll discuss factors affecting growth and development. What are the factors that are affecting India's growth, India's development? So that is more or less an application part of the same concept. After that, we'll discuss important indices like Human Development Index, Multidimensional Poverty Index, the Gender Inequality Index, like these. And after completing that topic, if the time permits, we'll discuss about the growth story of India since independence. So I'll make you one picture in your mind that how India achieved its growth since 1947. So we'll divide the topic from 1947 to 1966. 1966 is an important year. Then 1966 to 1991 and 1991 to the current aspect. So we'll proceed like this. Why 1996? These are just a temporary division for our understanding purpose. There is no hardline division. Main division is 1991, before reform and after economic reforms. So 1966, why it is important? Because of the Green Revolution. One of the important steps after independence. Okay, so first of all, we'll write the definition, or we'll discuss growth and development. What is growth and what is development? What do you think? These two terms, can we use these two terms as a synonym? Growth and development? Why?
So growth is basically the monetary terms.
Monetary terms.
Development is overall development of inclusive level, human development and gender development.
So it's a broader aspect, development. What do you think? Any other view? Any other opinion? Growth and development? Yes, speak. This should be an interactive class. नहीं माइंड चलेगा ना तभी तो अच्छा लगेगा. यस सचिन.
We talk about growth, we talk about a particular sector, we talk about agriculture, we talk about agriculture. We will not use the development agriculture. Because agriculture is a broad aspect. In agriculture, we can conduct different we talk about soil, we talk about
I can understand, but not partially. Yeah.
maybe talking about growth. We are talking about terms, and the other is the numerical terms, GDP. India is growing itself at 3% per when you talk about development, it's a recent phenomenon. Like in 1990s, Amit said other economists idea that growth is not the real indicator of the economy because it doesn't know proper distribution and happiness and other factors. So there is something like development. And in development, they talk about social, economic, political, all the different aspects. They talk about freedom of expression, freedom of money.
Yes. I understand. Yes. True. So when we talk about growth, in simple sense, if you want to discuss that, what is the difference between growth and development? In simple terms, growth is measurable in terms of quantitative phenomena. Like we can measure growth by quantitative terms. India achieved 7% growth. India achieved in 2003 to 2008, achieved growth at around 8.5%. So we can compare this year growth with previous year, country growth of Indian economy with other economies. So it means it measures quantitatively. But what about development? It is a qualitative phenomena. How? I'll give you one example. Quality of life. Simple. If the standard of living of people of India is improving, it means India is developing. Okay. So first we'll write definition. What is growth? Disposable income. Okay. Right. It is an income We are writing disposable income. Okay? It is an income which is left. It is an income which is left after we deduct personal taxes, and other social security contributions. In bracket you can write provident fund, social security contributions. An individual left with some amount which he or she can use for its consumption expenditure. You can understand by simple example. Like suppose an individual is earning 10 lakh rupees per month. He or she is paying 2 lakh rupees as income tax or contributing 50,000 in social security schemes like provident fund. Then the amount left after deduction all these amount is 7.5 lakh per annum. So these 7.5 lakh rupees is available for the use of consumption. So it means these 7.5 lakh rupees you can use for your current consumption, for your future consumption. You can use these amount as savings, etc. So whatever the actual amount left with the individual is known as disposable income, because it is at your disposal. Clear? So whatever the net amount left after deducting taxes and this. So next topic is growth and development. So we have completed our one module, that is the basic economics, demand, supply, circular flow and national income. Now we are moving towards the second topic, that is growth and development. It is a big topic. It will take around 4 hours. So we'll discuss extensively from the perspective of preliminary as well as mains examination. Because in the last year mains in 2017, they have asked about saving, the role of saving. Have you seen the paper? Role of saving. आप लोग पेपर देखे हैं? क्वेश्चन पेपर देखा है आपने? Please see the question paper. We have only 2 things, syllabus and question paper. Repeatedly I am saying, every Sunday you have to see the question paper. Pre का भी, mains का भी. Getting my point? उसी के बाद आपको पता चलेगा ना, we have to move in this direction. UPSC is asking questions like these. So first, आज आप घर जाएंगे क्या करेंगे? Question paper, paper 3. I am teaching paper 3. GS paper 3. So you can expect 10 to 11 questions from my domain. 10 to 11 questions in mains examination. It means it consists around 110, 120 marks. Some big weightage in the 250 marks question paper. So around 50% weightage of economy. And it will also help you in paper 2. There are some topics like poverty, higher education. It will also indirectly help you in all other papers. While writing internal security, while writing history, economic history. Getting my point? A preliminary is very, very important. Last year, from my domain, around 23 questions were there in the preliminary question paper. A lot of the questions were from, actually we can say information based question, UPI, like related to demonetization, opportunity cost question. These are some static questions also. So we'll focus on a static, then we'll move on to the major economics part. Then we analyze the topic. So first you write what is growth. It refers to the persistent increase. It refers to the persistent increase in the growth of GDP, persistent increase in the growth of GDP, real per capita income, as well as other quantitative phenomena. Full stop. Next point. Growth is considered as a unidimensional phenomena. Now, what do you understand by unidimensional? It means it will go in the single direction. Although we are experiencing negative growth as well as positive growth. Unidimensional means if it is increasing, it will go in one direction. If it is decreasing, it will go in other direction. But it cannot be multidimensional. Getting my point? Okay. Next point. Growth is the major concern of developed countries. Growth is the major concern of developed countries. Here I am telling you growth means economic growth. ठीक है, getting economic development, economic growth. बार बार लिखना से कोई मतलब नहीं है. So growth is the major concern of developed countries. Why? Any argument? Yes. Any other?
To sustain.
To sustain what?
To sustain the standard of living.
We need growth. Okay, on a stagnation, country can sustain. Like United States of America is having around $55,000 of per capita income. They can sustain at stagnant growth. If I say that economic growth is the major concern of developed countries, it can come as a statement. It can come as in the light of this statement, explain this phenomena. Because it has been a major concern of developed countries since Second World War. Why? Because they are achieving 1%, 2% growth rate. If India is expected to achieve 7.4% growth rate, that's the actual figure, in this current fiscal, that is 2018 and 19, India is expected to grow at 7.4%. Due to demonetization, our growth dipped. How much? Around 1 percentage point. Around 6.5, 6.6, 6.7. If suppose the same case happened to any Western economies, like developed economies like European Union and United States, Canada, what would happen then? Their economy collapsed. Why? Because they are experiencing growth rate around 2%, 3%. Japan is experiencing growth of 0.6%, 1%. Getting my point? That is why the growth rate is the major concern of developed countries. Now the question arises, why? Because they are about to reach their saturation point from their developmental perspective. If we compare India and suppose Japan, in India there are a lot of scope to build infrastructure. We can build flyovers, we can build bridges, we can build road infrastructure, we can build power grids. But in Japan, everything is about to reach the saturation point. Getting my point? You remember 1913, have you ever heard about Great Depression? Great Depression of 1930s. At that time, in United States of America, what happened? The problem of lack of demand. John Maynard Keynes, a famous economist, said that if you are not experiencing growth in your country, you can do only one thing: demolish the current infrastructure, build it again, or dig the holes and cover it once again. Why this proper saying is very famous in economics literature? The question is, we have reached the saturation. We have reached the saturation. What will I do? I have to create employment, I have to create income, I have to mobilize the savings into investment. So we need some economic activity. That is why growth is the major concern of developed economy. Clear? How?
How could the economic collapse? Like they already at a situation point. If they only 0% growth, still they can maintain sustain.
But they need growth now, because inflation is there. People are engaging in business. How you will achieve the growth rate of 1%, 2%? If you are achieving the growth rate as 0.5%, next year your target should be 0.6. But you are not achieving even 0.5%. It is a major concern. What is your question exactly? I am not getting your question.
Like if somebody is already situation point, how could the economic collapse? Like how do they justify it? Even if they're not going, they're already having all the resources that other person are going, other third world countries like US.
So why America is thinking about trade war? Why America is putting restrictions? How will you justify this point? If they are growing, they have achieved everything in this world. Everything. They have good infrastructure, they have high standard of living, they have everything in comparison to other countries. Then why they are engaging in trade?
So maybe because China and other countries
Will overtake, obviously. Suppose you are getting highest marks in the class, every test. But you will do something to maintain that first position. Getting my point? Otherwise, the second rank candidate will overtake you. So we'll do something. So we require economic activity. That is it. Okay, but in basic economics, we need growth. Clear? Now next point. Growth can be achieved. Growth can be achieved without development. Growth can be achieved without development. Did you get this sentence? These are total content. You can write as it is these sentences in the mains examination. It will fetch you marks. Growth can be achieved without development. How will you justify this statement? Do you agree with this statement? Growth can be achieved without development. Yes? Yes or no? Best example is India. India has been growing since 1991 at 5%, 7%. But what about development? Development is at slow pace. Nigeria is growing at 15%. That is why we are saying India is a fastest growing major economy. If you are reading newspaper, sometimes they miss the word major. And the statement went wrong. Why? Because Nigeria is growing at 15%. बहुत सारा स्कोप है, आप कुछ भी बनाओगे तो ग्रोथ में कंट्रीब्यूट होना है. So India is a large, fastest growing major economy. So you can achieve growth without development, but not vice versa. So we'll write this thing. Getting my point? Next point. The indicators of growth. The indicators of growth. The indicators of growth are as follows. One, two, three, four. You can write, or A, B, C, D. Real GDP. Real GDP. Second, real per capita income. Increase, third one, increase in the income level. increase in the income level. That's it. So real per capita income क्या है? You write on the basis of PPP. I'll explain what is PPP in today's class. Now we write development. Right. It is a qualitative phenomena. It is a qualitative phenomena which is associated with, it is a qualitative phenomena which is associated with structural changes accompanied with economic growth. Have you understood this sentence? Is there any word that you have not understand? Structural changes. I'll explain structural changes. Like for example, 1991. Yesterday I've given this example. In 1991, what happened before 1991? Structurally, Indian economy was an agrarian economy. Now, how will you justify agrarian if the contribution of that particular sector is more than 50%? Because before 1991, agriculture sector was contributing more than 50% in Indian economy. But after 1991, the service sector overtook agriculture sector. So there was a change in the structure of Indian economy. What are the structure of the economies? First one is capitalist economy, then socialist economy, third one is mixed economy. ये तो पढ़ा होगा आपने. We'll discuss in brief, one-liner. Otherwise, in other subjects, you know what is capitalism, what is socialism, what is mixed economy. So structure got changed after 1991. That is why, if we consider last decade and this decade, 2000 to 2010 and then 2011 to 2018, we have experienced another structural change. How? Telecom sector started getting up in the last decade, but in this decade it is reaching its saturation point. At that time we have 2G, 3G, but now we are thinking about 5G, even more. Getting my point? So structurally Indian economy changed. If we think about communication channels, last decade and this decade, obviously there has been a sea change in the communication channel. You remember talking to a friend in 2001, very different. 16 rupees outgoing, 8 rupees incoming per minute. In 2008, things have changed, 1 rupees, 2 rupees maybe. In 2011-12, we have almost a package of free calling. But nowadays, free SMS, free internet, free everything. That's a structural change in the communication. Got my point?
Like, what is the benchmark when we see this structural change? For example, our economy was early socialist oriented. Now we have like more of a mixed economy and moving towards like capitalism. This is like a major change, but like considering changes in a certain sector like telecommunications, can they also be guided as structural?
Structural changes in the telecom sector. Structural changes in the service sector. If telecom sector contributes majorly in the service sector, we can happily say that structural changes experienced in the service sector. If we change our infrastructure from roadways to metro, first time we have metros in Delhi, Kolkata, but after that Jaipur, Chandigarh. If you visit Chandigarh from Zirakpur to वो इतना बड़ा track बन रहा है. Then in Bhopal also started Kochi metro, Lucknow. So these are structural changes in infrastructure sector, in transportation sector. Structure got changed. Like for example, you have done in your graduation in engineering, then you have done something in humanities like MA Economics, MA Sociology, etc. These are structural changes in your education level, structural changes in personality from last Prime Minister to this Prime Minister. These are daily life examples, but we cannot use terms structurally. But just for your explanation, I am giving these kind of examples. Otherwise, the base should be different. Then we can say it is an external change. Get it?
So, can you explain this with example? Growth can be achieved without development.
That is growth. I'm about to explain this thing. But first we'll write development point, so that I will make you write that development, we cannot achieve development without growth. Then we'll compare. Okay. What was the last point? Only definition. Next point. Development is a multi-dimensional phenomena. Development is a multi-dimensional phenomena. Now, did you understand this sentence? Multi-dimensional phenomena. It means if you are building metro, you are connecting whole of Delhi. Metro has an impact multi-dimensionally. We cannot say metro has an impact only on the transportation sector. Travel time reduced, transportation increased. We can say it is very helpful in reducing the congestion on roads. Very helpful. एक दिन metro बंद हो जाए, Delhi will not function because congestion will be huge on roads. Will unable to move. Even कल ही की बात बता रहा हूँ, मैं एक गाड़ी चल रही थी, मैं वॉक कर रहा था, फिर गाड़ी आई, फिर वॉक कर रहा था, मतलब मेरी स्पीड बराबर थी, बस वो था वो एसी में था, मैं धूप में पैदल चल रहा था, इतना डिफरेंस था. तो सपोज if for the one day if metro will not function, what will happen? Delhi economy will not work, stand still. ठीक है? So it is a multi-dimensional phenomenon. Like for example, Sagarmala project, port-led development. Like in 2002, infrastructure, Pradhan Mantri Gram Sadak Yojana. These are having their multi-dimensional effect on the economy. How? If you build rural roads, what are the benefits? No, because your labor will get employment, fast communication, transportation, societal changes, migration will stop, mentality will change. See, there is some opportunity cost. I'll explain the concept of opportunity cost. Second. Next point. What was the third point in growth? So right. Development is the major concern of. Development is the major concern of. Now you will tell me. Developing countries. Development is the major concern of developing countries. Now we'll discuss this point. India is achieving growth rate around 7 to 8%. We have a bracket of 1 percentage point. If we achieve 7.6%, we are happy. If we achieve 7.2%, we are also happy. So it doesn't bother about around 4 or 5%, 0.4 or 0.5% change in the growth rate. But what is the major concern? Development. We need growth. What's the ultimate aim? Development. So we can say that growth is just a means, but development is end in itself. So growth is a way to achieve development. Next point. Development cannot be achieved. Development cannot be achieved without experiencing growth. Without experiencing economic growth, you're right. without experiencing economic growth. Without experiencing economic growth. Last point, right? Then we'll discuss. Last point. The measurement of development are as follows. The measurement of development are as follows. First one. Can you give me any example? How we will measure development? Any example? HDI. So you write first one, per capita income. Then second is HDI. Third one is PQLI. Physical Quality of Life Index. PQLI. Next one is MPI, Multidimensional Poverty Index. Multidimensional Poverty Index. In bracket you write, before 2010 it was known as Human Poverty Index. We'll discuss these index one by one, so don't worry. These are important indicators of development. 10. It was known as Human Poverty Index, HPI, etc. You can write etc. So how development? We cannot achieve development without growth. Do you have any example that country is developed without achieving high economic growth? No example, because hardly any country exists. Hardly, there is no country exists in this world. We need growth. Like India is growing 7 to 8%. America was also growing in the 20th century. All other developed countries in their past has achieved high growth rate. Bhutan. Bhutan is a developed country. No, I'm asking development. Bhutan is not a developed country. Even India, China, Russia are not developed countries. How can we say Bhutan is a developed country? So, without growth, development is not possible. Do you have any doubt in this statement? No. But without development, we can achieve growth. Make it clear. Next point क्या था? इस चीज का? Growth can be achieved without development. India is the best example. If we talk about African countries, they are achieving double-digit growth rate. But World Bank, IMF or other countries are not bothering about their growth. That they are achieving a 10% growth rate per annum, 15%. Why? Because they are growing. एक road भी बना दी ना साल भर में. That is also considered as a high growth rate, because from the last 10 to 20 years, they were struggling in order to provide food to their population. Now they are building some kind of infrastructure with the help of World Bank and IDA. So whatever they will build, obviously it will contribute to country's GDP. So they are experiencing growth rate of around 7%, 10%, 15%. You can check on internet. Double digit growth in African countries. But these are initial level phases. Like India is also developing. But we cannot say India is a developed country. India is developing. I'm not denying any fact. If you are building one single road, if I'm making this room proper, like implying these blinds, making false ceiling, etc., paint on these walls, these are also development. But we cannot say that this room is developed. That Delhi is developed. We are building metro in Delhi, we are building infrastructure, we are building buildings, we are building roads. But we are still struggling with the problem of waterlogging.
The disparity and the gap between rich and poor in India at the present time is a result of growth without development.
Yes. I'll narrate the story from independence from 1947. Then I'll explain in 2002 to 2003 era, when we achieved jobless growth. Have you ever heard about this term, jobless growth? Growth without increment in the jobs. This is an important topic we'll discuss today after understanding these basic terms. I'll give you a lot of examples. Okay? Just understand this. Now multidimensional fact is clear. These are indices. Now you write next, factor affecting economic growth. This is very important from mains perspective. Factors affecting economic growth. So put a star, important topic. Factors affecting economic growth. So we will divide these factors into two important heads. First one is economic factors, second one is non-economic factors. So first we'll discuss economic factors. So you write subheading, economic factors. We'll write one by one. First we'll write all the points, then we'll explain, then I'll dictate you. First one is investment. First one is investment. Under economic factor, you write, first one is investment, second one is savings. Second one is savings. Third one is capital formation. In bracket you write, a combination of the above two. Combination of the above two. Third one, technological aspects. Third one is technological aspects. Fourth one is human capital. Fourth one is human capital. That's it.